Yo everyone! Today we are going into one of the biggest difference between an average Pokémon TCG player and a great one. As some of you know, there's something called price mapping. If you're not planning how to take prices efficiently, you're probably costing yourself games. Today I'm breaking down the most common price mapping mistakes and showing you how to fix them so you can start winning more matches. So I will start off this video by going over what exactly is price mapping. Um, I will showcase some examples from competitive play in the regionals here in Stockholm, the top 8, where we have some pretty good examples on how the good players think ahead, figuring out which to knock out, how to take the efficient KOs, and what board states this actually leads up to. So, yeah. For example, sometimes you take 2 KOs on single prizes, or 1 KO on 2 big prizes. That's a big difference. It's also depending on deck. If you're seeing an ancient box, you only have one prize Pokemons, where in Miraidon you mainly use two prizes, for example. But let's go into the example and I will show you what to look for. So the first example, now I skipped a little bit ahead, but here we go. Look at the board state here. So what are your plan as Dragapult in this scenario here? You have the Dusk Skull, or Dusclops, you have the Skull, you have two Dracloaks, and you have a Dreepy. How do you want to price map from this position here? You have a lead at this moment, you have your draw engine going, and you can set up a Dracloak or Dragapult pretty quickly. But how will you be most efficient with prices? Gardevoir is a special example that is mainly relying on one cost attackers, which makes it harder to price map correctly. And that's also something you have to keep in mind. But in general, you need to be able to think this process through in every single matchup. It doesn't matter if you play into Gardevoir, into Dragapult, into Charizard. This scenario is a little bit special because he also used the Dusclops line, which can sometimes mess up the price map. As you see, Rune Hermans has taken one prize already, so it's 6 to 5. The first thing I will look into here, if you follow my cursor, there is a Badoo that has 30 HP. That's actually something you can KO with Dusclops. And the Gardevoirs and the Curlias and the Rolls has 70 and 80. So there's a lot of options here. What I would look into doing is probably see, do I have a Ghost option? Oh, I have a Counter Catcher. Okay, what does it require for me to make a Dragapult here? So I can snipe damage onto the Curlia with the Dusclops first, then use Dragapult to finish off the Curlia I just put damage onto. Damage the Curlia we have taken into active, this one down here, with the counter catcher you can see he has in hand, and take out Badoo. That's one of the ways you can look at price mapping, because it suits up well with the damage. Let's see what he does here. Oh, skip too far ahead. There we go. A little flip. Okay, should be around, yeah, this turn. So he still has a Badoo. Wait, am I too far ahead? I am too far ahead. I'm one game ahead. Sorry for that. Should be around here then. Uh, that is. Okay. So he plays Oven. What you look into finding here is most likely a rare candy and what? Oh, he wanna. Yeah, okay. Rare candy for Sealstone is a nice play here and sets up for the price map as well because that's make you able to get 4 prizes this turn. Take out the last Curlia. So you rare candy into a Dusknoir. He has Dusknoir in hand as far as I remember. Then you play the Dusknoir in hand, Rare Candy Dusknoir. And yeah, the reason the other player scoops as soon as the Dusknoir comes down. You use Dusknoir, snipe Curlia. Use Dusk Clubs, snipe Curlia. Boss up with or Gust up with Counter Catcher. Damage, take out. All 3 Curlias instead. No more draw engine. No way to set up to Gardevoir. That's a game. That's how you need to think about price mapping. How do I put my opponent in a bad situation where I have the lead because I map my price correctly? The perfect map looks like 1 price, 2, 2, 1. No, wait, 1, 2, 2, 2. Because that way you give the least amount of prices in the beginning, but you still have the most amount of Pokemon you can get knocked out. So that was our first example. Now I would talk a little bit about setting up for multi-price knockouts. We have quite a few cards right now that are setting up for multi-price knockouts. This is just a few examples. Hop deals 30 damage to the bench and 30 to the active, with no Hops items and so on in play. Those 30 damage on the bench is actually enough to KO Badu, but you can also spread the damage a bit, so you set up for one turn where you can take multiple knockouts. One core example is Dragapult. Dragapult puts 6 damage counters anywhere you like on the opponent's bench. It's put damage, so it's not blockable. So that's one of the best ways to set up a turn where you can theoretically take 6 prizes, and you see it quite often happens. Then we have Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory is a little bit special in this scenario, because Monkey Dory move damage from your side onto your opponent's side. I love Monkey Dory in decks. Think it's super good, super strong, and super fun to play with. And when we have the last example, Dusknoir is a little bit different. Dusknoir, first of all, it can change the price map. Dusknoir can put you down to 2 prices, and then take KO, and then you use Briar, and so on. And that's also something we have to look into when we talk price mapping. That's stuff like Dusknoir. Because you cannot predict a Dusknoir, you give your opponent a price, which people don't expect always, which is why it was so strong in Charizard in the beginning, and why it's still super, super strong. So Dusknoir with a combination of, let me find her, Briar, is one of the strongest combo we have. The reason I say that is because Briar makes you take one additional prize. So that means Dusknoir doesn't have to KO. If you price map correctly, you're down to 3 prizes. You use Dusknoir to put damage onto an EX, so your opponent is down to 2 prizes now. You play Briar and you take 3 prizes, you win the game. So that's something you have to look into when we talk price mapping. There's a lot of factors to keep in mind when we talk about price mapping and how to manipulate it. Boss is also one of your key resources, counter catchers, also prime catchers technically. So we have a lot of tools to manipulate this. So let's go into some of the core mistakes people make. And we are back. So in this scenario here, I will showcase Top's Akeladon, as I did on the video yesterday, and I will show you how you price map with it, and why sometimes the best play is not go for the big KOs. Sometimes you have to settle for small KOs, just doing 30 damage is sometimes enough. This is a super good scenario for a start, but in a deck like Hobbs, you don't have as much damage as you have in a lot of other decks. Wait, isn't that rotated yet? Okay, never mind then. This is just against the AI. The AI is not that good, but it can still showcase what I want to show here. As you see here in this position, I don't have the necessary damage. Such a deck for Hobbs Pokemon. Yeah, we do that. Snorlax gives more damage, so. But here's one of the tools I talked about, the counter catcher. We are not gonna use it right here. We are doing something else to set up the perfect price map. Hobstation is really reliant on price map, because if you don't price map correctly, this thing has no damage. So we find an Ultra Ball and a Choice Band. Now we hit for 90 into active and 30 onto the bench. Oh, that's damage, direct damage, okay. So that doesn't work on Bidoof, or Bidoof. But the plan here is you want to set up so you can take multiple prizes in one turn, instead of just going for, okay, I want to take prizes now and don't care about the rest of the game. So let's say he attacks me here, he can't, but if he did, I would use that to set up for multi-prize turn. Now we are going to accelerate a little bit. Ultra Ball, Choice Band. For a Caludon. I'm not gonna use the secondary attack here, even though I can, but I'm settling for one price. The reason you want to settle for one price sometimes is because sometimes you just have to be okay with not hitting as hard. I could take two prices here and get myself in a favorable position by taking multiple price turns, but by doing that, I am also letting a one price stay, which maybe cost me resources in the long run. So it's also about where are your resources, how many resources do you have left. In this scenario here, I have a boss, so what we want to look into is, okay, our win condition is taking multi-price turns. Let's take out Lugia V-Star before he sets up with it. I don't know what this fucking AI is doing, but oh well. So in this position here, I wanna Pokegear. Okay, there's nothing in the top 7, so we don't have a boss guaranteed next turn. Let's boss up Lugia, set our energy onto Snorlax, and Brave Slash. We could do Chip, but we want to take out a multi-price turn here. If it was a VMAX, it would also change the price map, but VMAX is gone in a few days, so let's not talk into that too much. So yeah, but that's actually how price map work. You are going to look into, okay, what should I KO and when should I KO it? That's the general idea behind price mapping. So let's go into what you can do to make it better. The first tip I have, always think 3 turns ahead. That maybe sound like a chess move thing to do, but it's something you have to think about. Before making a move at all, ask yourself, how will this knockout set up my next turn? What's my best path to 6 prizes? Is it okay? I'm going to KO Fezandipity, then I KO Petra, then I KO Zorak, for example. I tested against Zorak yesterday, and I was playing around with what was the best way to get to 6 prizes without messing up myself. Then you have to identify your key knockouts early. That's tip number 2. When the game starts, look at your opponent's board and decide which Pokemon will be your main target. This helps you avoid wasting attacks, maybe not doing the damage you need. And if you're playing like Goldango, it also helps you doing the math in your head and calculating how much energy can I afford to discard every time. Tip number 3 is use cards to control the prices. Cards like Boss's Order are key to price mapping. If you don't use Boss or don't use Counter Catcher, you can end up wasting attacks hitting something you don't want to attack and get some bad knockouts that will not put you forward in the game. And then tip number 4, track your opponent's price tools. When I talk about price tools, I'm talking Duskgnaw, Monkey Dory, Dragapulse, Hopsticks with all the setups you can do, poison damage, track every single thing we can use to take prizes. I know this sounds like a lot, but you need to think about these things if you want to really get good at this. And can you force them into a bad situation where they have to give up an extra prize? So, that's all I have to say here. And in my opinion, this is the key to master price mapping. It takes practice, it takes time, but if you found this helpful, hit the like button down below and the subscribe button. It helps out a ton. I am on my way to 500 subs. I love to hear what you guys think about what I'm talking about in this video. What if there's something you think is I do wrong when I talk about price mapping? If there's something you want me to go deeper into, I will also go deeper into that, maybe on a stream or in some videos. So if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Peace out from here.